What's going on, everybody? I figured I would start the teardown / build video. I'm probably going to start this video as part 1. I'm not sure how many parts are going to be involved. I guess I'm not sure if I'm going to begin with the rear suspension teardown or whatever, the wheels, engine. I'm not sure. So, what I'm probably going to do is begin with the engine and I guess go from there. So I'm going to find a nice spot to set you guys down, get you some good views, try the best I can, and we'll go from there. So this is my first ever teardown build video, so I hope I get some good shots. Alright, so probably I'm just going to start by probably just pulling the engine, because it's got to come out anyway. If you guys are wondering, yes, I am wearing gloves. Some of you might be wondering why I'm wearing gloves. Well, I'm not a mechanic. I'm used to wearing gloves. I'm used to just fixing a car, pulling the gloves off, and getting into a customer's car. Makes it much easier, much faster. Hence, whatever makes me faster makes me more money. So, tools of the trade, I guess. Alright, we'll start by pulling. Let me get you in really quick so you can see what I'm doing. Basically, we're going to start, just kind of pull the servo horn off. With the servo horn off, I'm going to go under the truck. I'm going to pull the bracket for the exhaust, the bracket for the engine, and then just lift the engine off. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get, I forgot to grab them. I'm going to get two Allen keys or 2 screwdrivers just to shove into the fuel line so it doesn't leak anywhere. So put you guys back down. Stand. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can turn the truck, flip it on its belly, get my 3 mil Allen. Which, by the way, if you guys are going to be doing this yourself, I suggest getting a good set of Allen screws. I get them from my tool truck. I get them from Snap-on Tools. Works very well for ball drivers. I've gotten them from DDM Racing. They work very well as well. So that was just the bracket for the exhaust. Let's see if I can get you guys over here so you can see what I'm doing. You can kind of see what I'm doing. See how that kind of works. You guys can stay. Then I'm just going to pull. Might be a little loud. I had to do a little off-camera break there because I forgot how much Loctite I put in there. Loctite is your best friend with these things. Any metal-to-metal part, you want to guys make sure you put Loctite on. One thing I love about the Losi 5 is how easy it is to pull an engine. Number 2, I'm thinking of you right now, and some of you guys already have one and looking at me and cringing. I wish I had an Access RC stand. I wouldn't have to flip this thing on its back. Sometimes I don't mind. I guess if I'm by myself, I don't mind, but for doing it on camera, makes it kind of a pain in the balls. Do this on camera. Gotta make sure you got the shot. People can see what you're doing. All right, so which is basically. It's closer. Hang on. That's what a handy box is for. Yeah, that should work. Yeah. So with just the removal of 5 screws, one because I had to remove the mount from my my victory pipe, just like that, the engine's ready to be plucked. It's that quick. And one thing I did not do when I was off camera, which I should have, but I didn't, because I'm a schmuck, is I should have got my tool for plugging the lines, which I did not get. So just removing the fuel line. This is the return line. It just ripped because this was actually nitro line, because my original line broke. So I have to get actual gas line for the truck. So let me slide this back. That's out. Sometimes at moments like this, I wish I had a quick connect linkage, but it's okay. And watch, because I'm on camera, it's gonna fight me. Yep. Always when I'm on camera. Alright, well, number one, because this is the bind and drive, I have telemetry sensor, so it's got to reach under, pop my connector, and open up my radio box, and also disconnect my killer RC kill switch so I can get this guy out of here. Man, this thing makes me want to look stupid right now. There we go. Okay, bottom linkage out. Fuel line off. Fuel line. Where's my? There it is. And just like that, one engine removed from a 5T. Not too bad, huh? So, next step is cleaning. God, do we got to do some cleaning in here. We got a lot of crap to clean up. Like, look at this. That's just leaves and gunk and junk. So I'm gonna do a quick vacuum. I'll be right back. I kind of cut ahead to some of the more boring bits. You know, instead of sitting here and watching the whole strip down, I kind of cut ahead. Basically what I did is I removed all the bolts for the servo tray, radio tray and everything, and with one swoop, bloop, it's out of the truck. That's out of the way. And same thing, I removed everything, so now I can just take the fuel tank, bloop, pull that out of the way. Now the fuel tank and everything else is out of the truck. And I can do, once again, a little vacuum to kind of get all this loose debris out of here. And we can then pull off the back and the front sections and just have a little fun. Be right back. All right, we're going to next, if I can find my, pull the back wheels off and pull the entire rear bulkhead off. Then we can start by prepping the chassis for the toe link adjustment. Now, just so you know, you do not technically, you don't have to take all this off. All you have to do is pull these two rear bolts off, fold the bumper off, and you can get your toe adjustment right here. And you know, the reason I'm pulling it off is, number one, I want to clean my entire chassis, and two, I have the brackets ready to install on the chassis, so I might as well just pull everything out. Take my gun. Now, you can do this by hand, but again, if you have the tools, use them. Nothing wrong with using the tools you got. Like I said, I'm not really too used to working on camera. Alright. One tire off. Put the nut back on so I don't lose it. Put the other nut back off. A lot of dirt in those puppies. Alright, that way we don't lose it. Alright. So let's flip this beast up, and before I lose everything, I'm going to keep track of my Allens here. So I think I mentioned it before, but these Allen heads are from Snap-on Tools. Lifetime warranty on them. I was tired of ruining Allen heads and things like that. All right, let's flip this over. Again, this is where an access stand would be amazing. But unfortunately, I don't have an access RC stand. I don't know. Maybe Santa Claus will bring me one. Brace number one. That's for the rear chassis brace. Other chassis brace, pull that out. And then there's 4 mains for the hinge bolts or for the bulkheads. Those use 4mm Allens. Everything on the truck pretty much uses 3 or 4mm Allens. There are some 2.5, but primarily everything under the chassis. Actually, I can't say that. The radio tray and the fuel tank are held in place by 2.5mm head bolts. The chassis braces are held in with 3mm heads, and the main bulkheads are held in with 4mm. So in case you guys are wondering, what kind of driver I'm using, this is a Milwaukee Fuel. I don't recommend using an impact driver if you don't know its limitations, because you will very easily break things if you don't know when to stop. So just like that. Now there's a pin that goes to the back. You gotta fight that, pull it off, and the rear assembly comes out in one clip, and boop, just like that. Your rear assembly is completely out of the truck. And we almost have a fully naked 5T. Doesn't take much time to really rip these things apart. So literally I'm maybe 25 minutes into this total with editing and stuff like that and taking stuff out. Doesn't take a real long time to strip these trucks down. That's the one beauty thing about this truck. Everything is modular. It comes off in one piece. I don't know if I should just wonder if I should just pull the front clip off and then do the rear. I think I might do that. I think I'm going to pull the front section off, and then I will start on the rear. So I'll see you guys in a second. All right, guys, we're back. Chassis is all stripped down. Front bulkhead's there, rear bulkhead's there. Chassis is completely empty. Only thing left on it is a differential and front steering linkage. But if I want to take that off, it just lift right off. So I mentioned before about the droop screw adjustments. You can actually see where they're going out into the aluminum. So what you do is you just drill the hole right through there, thread your holes, and put your pieces in from Team Fast Eddie, and that solves your problem. That way you have droop screw adjustments. But what we're going to do now is we are going to change the toe adjustment on the back of the truck while I have the bulkhead out, and while I have you guys out here. That way, I know I mentioned it before, but my center diff is running 120,000 weight oil. My rear diff is running 30,000 weight oil. My front diff is running the stock 7,000 weight oil. In case anybody was wondering. Now you know. So next up is we are going to do the chassis brace for this this Losi. So, or no, I'm sorry, not chassis brace. The toe adjustment. It is going to be go from 3° toe to 0°. That's this piece right here. We have some tools. We need a 3mm Allen. Like I said, you do not have to remove this entire assembly from the truck. One thing I will suggest that you do is if you do put this toe link in your truck, the one thing I recommend is to go from to remove the shocks. The reason why I say remove the shocks is because the droop screws are being pushed down into the chassis, and as soon as you take these bolts out, it's going to try to physically force everything up. So I don't have to worry about that because the bulkhead is on the ground. So I'm going to try to work around you guys so you guys can see what I'm doing. Oh, right the first time. It was a 4mm. Actually, this rear toe set is actually incredibly easy to change. So to take these 2 bolts, pull them right out. Bolt. 2 bolts out. Move this bumper, kind of hinge it out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here. Actually, let me see if I can let me turn on the light. No, why would it? Alright, so I'll pull this off and pull this stock plate right out of here. So now you can see that the stock plate is 3° toe, 3° toe and 2° anti-squat. So the 2° anti-squat stays the same, but now we're going to go with 0° toe. Perfect. So let's, again, trying to do this on camera so everybody can see is kind of a pain. Especially when I gotta pull this bulkhead out of frame for a second. I apologize. Let's get this over here. So you now see that that toe is in there. So we're just going to take the cover plate, cover up the nice Team Fast Eddie bracket you will never see again. But I'll know it's there, and you guys will know it's there too. Pop the bolt back in. So you can see what I'm doing. Oh, got my camera. I'm thinking you can see me. I'm hoping. So, whatever. It's a quick one. Let's fire a nut in. That's what she said. And just like that, I am now equipped. My Losi now has 0 degree rear toe. And just that simple. That is the Team Fast Eddie 0 degree rear toe. Now, One thing I want to do before I put everything back together is, I don't know about the other, but I might as well install this. Excuse me. This bracket. So it's loaded for when I do install it. Once again, I apologize for the horrible angles, as it's really, really difficult. I didn't realize how difficult it is to film a disassembly when you don't have a tripod set up. Alright, and there goes the stock rear brace. Like for like. Oh yeah. Getting pretty now. I'm not installing any, the reason why I'm not installing any lock nut, or sorry, any Loctite, is because the nut that it goes into is actually a nylock nut. If you wanted to, you could. When I put the bolts back up into the chassis from underneath, I will be using Loctite, as that is now going into a piece of aluminum. It's no longer going into a nylock nut, so that would definitely be a requirement that I would definitely recommend if you're going to be doing that. This is, I don't know why I didn't get my 4mm ball driver out of the bag. That would have been a lot better for the situation. Don't ask me why. And I just dropped it. How's that? Boom, boom, boom. Alright. Moving on. So basically, the rear setup is now complete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this the end of part 1. I'm going to end it because this video is probably 25 minutes long. I'm not too sure. So I'm going to call it the end of part 1. Part 2 is going to be installing the fast eddy bump stops. Part 3 might be also doing the fronts and the tires. I'm not sure yet. But until then, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.